Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
We're standing on the grounds of Science World. We love this place where Expo took place, and we're looking forward to a very busy show.
And I think we can safely say that spring is almost here, but let's get right to Our City Tonight.
Well, we're here downtown at the Vancouver Convention Centre at the Vancouver International Wine Festival. What a great time. And Harry, tell us a little bit about what's happening here.
Well, there's 2,000 people enjoying wine right now behind us.
And in front of us.
We have wines from 16 countries, but our featured country this year, what an exciting place to grow wine and for us to taste their wines, the country of France. We put on a spotlight on rosé this year, and I'm really excited to have dragged some of my friends all the way to Vancouver from down the coast and across Canada, some sommeliers and writers, and I would love to have you meet them.
I like that intro. I think I know where we're going next. Let's go meet Harry's friends here at the Vancouver International Wine Festival. Cheers.
Cheers. We're excited to be here with Sarah. Sarah, a lot of people know about the different French regions, appellations, but you have something interesting to share with us.
Yeah, so I've got a wine from the southern French appellation of Queyranne, and Queyranne is a new cru in the southern Rhone. It was just established a couple of years ago, and it's an area that is unique because of its elevation, up against the Dante de Montmirail, up in the northwest corner, and it has this unique soil that's topped with this beautiful red clay. Lots of aromatics in this area, lavender, dried herbs, and makes for a unique wine to look for.
Wonderful. Thank you for that great information.
You're welcome.
Well, this gentleman has the privilege, and I should say the honor of being on our show a number of times that we've been at the wine festival. Paul, rosé has really come a long way over the years. Of course, I thought it really had a great coming out party at the recent wine fest that we're filming at right now. Yep. Talk about rosé and the making thereof.
Well, let me ask you a question. What color is grape juice? Aha, see?
I've seen different ones, but yes, good point.
Grape juice is white.
Yeah.
If you pick wine grapes, they all have white juice.
Yeah.
The only way you get color from a grape is to allow that juice to sit in contact with the skins of the grapes. So, like making tea, the way you make rosé is you pick the grapes, and depending on whether you like very delicate tea or whether you like black inky tea, you leave the juice on the skins, and that's what gives you this fabulous variation in color between very pale rosé and deep pink rosé.
I love that you actually broke that down and simplified it for me, because I'm drinking more rosé than I ever have. But thank you for explaining that to us, Paul. And hey, and congratulations, you have recently retired. That's wonderful
Thank
news.
you. It's been a treat.
Very nice. And also a man who's wearing a fantastic pin on his suit jacket. Very nice.
Jose, everyone who watches the show knows I love my champagne, but tell us a little bit why. This is a popular brand, but why and what is different and unique about it?
Well, the Taringe, it's still a family-owned winery, and they use a lot of Chardonnay in their blend, so that the style of champagne is very sharp and refreshing at the same time.
And for people that don't know champagne, it has to be a particular region.
Champagne is a specific region in France. So yeah, when we talk about sparkling wine, Champagne makes a sparkling wine and other styles. But for Champagne to have the name of Champagne, has to come from the region of Champagne.
Wonderful. Thank you. We always like to have champagne on our show, and you're the right guy to be pouring this.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you very much for having me.
Ken, what are you going to talk about with us today here at the Vancouver International Wine Festival?
I moved to Portland from the East Coast 15 years ago. Fell in love with Portland wines and Willamette Valley wines. And there was always talk about how the Pinot being made in Willamette Valley was very similar to Burgundy. And at the time I thought so 15 years ago. Wow, has climate change come in and put the kibosh on that. The wines are very different now from the Willamette Valley, whereas in Burgundy they've gotten warmer, but not to the point where they have Syrah-like tendencies sometimes.
Great. And so, what do you have in front of us as we wrap up
Okay,
here?
this is a true Burgundy from Joseph Drouin, a Côte de Beaune, and this is the Penarache Willamette Valley Pinot. These are both delicious wines, but they don't have as much in common as they did 15 years ago. And I would love to do a major tasting where we could put together a whole string of wines from each of the regions and then sit and chew that one up.
Perfect. Sounds fascinating. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're going to move to the south of France. Of course, France in the spotlight right now. Pierre, you're going to talk about a very interesting wine which I just tasted before we went on camera from that region. What are we showcasing here?
Well, this is one of my youth. If I can remember the Sunday roast or the nice dinner of Saturday night, Friday night with my parents, I come from a Canadian boy, farmer kind of background, and we were drinking simple wine with roast chicken, and the Séchignan was the wine. Full of fruit, you can feel the spice, you can feel the south of France, you can almost hear the crickets singing when you're drinking this wine. And I think it's versatile, you know. Wine needs to be enjoyable, drinkable, and agreeable, and Saint-Chinian is all of it.
I look forward to trying more of this once the camera stops rolling.
Absolutely. And you know, at the end of the day, wine should be drink and enjoy. You know, I've been in the business of sommelier, thinking, overthinking, analyzing the wine, but I like to consume and share a bottle of wine with friends once in a while.
Wow, we're excited to be here with Evan. Evan, we are going to give you the floor and tell us a little bit what you're going to talk about with us today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm talking a little bit about not this year, rather, but next year, in the sense that the focus for 2021's Vancouver International Wine Festival will be the entire continent of South America.
Oh, so excited about that.
Yeah, well, I think it's wonderful because having a country focus is terrific, but
Yeah.
in South America, yeah, you could play favorites and say the Argentines this and the Chileans that, but 10 out of the 12 independent nations on that continent produce wine, and I think it's an incredible opportunity for people to taste, learn, and experience what it's all about.
I think you really hit the nail on the head with that because a lot of people like Chilean or some other country, but you're bringing a whole bunch in here. Like you were talking about Uruguayan.
Yeah, no, we're going to have Uruguay, such as what we have over here with our friends at Bodega Garzon. But my hope is too that the Brazilians will come, the Peruvians will come, the Bolivians will come, and of course the Chileans and Argentines, who are the engines of the continent.
Yeah, and we learned a little while ago that you are actually a master sommelier, one of the first of 7.
I was number 7 in the United States back in the days of short-armed dinosaurs. I passed in 1987 and have been examining, teaching ever since.
Once a king, always a king.
I don't
Evan.
know about that.
Well, we didn't save the best for last, I guess. You'll be here next year. It's Evan. Look for him in 2021. Well, Harry, Evan just kind of wrapped things up for us about looking forward. Your thoughts for next year in 2021?
I'm already excited about next year.
Good.
We're going to do this all over again a year from now, last week of February, right here at the Convention Center, the heart of it all. And it's going to be our first time that we've ever done a theme continent.
I think this is very exciting. You've got all kinds of great varieties to bring.
As Evan mentioned, who you just interviewed, we're going to be featuring on Argentina and Chile and Uruguay and also Latin American culture. And I think the chefs will also get really excited about Latin American cuisine. It's just going to be, it's going to be hot, hot, hot here in Vancouver at the
Well,
end of
congratulations on
Yeah,
another
great
very
year, Harry.
successful
Cheers.
wrapping
Thank
up
you.
2020 and really looking forward to 2021.
Yeah.
February. Cheers.
Right here at the Vancouver International Wine Festival. We'll see Harry next year. Well, not too long ago, I had the pleasure of interviewing a wonderful guy and a great actor, Simon Pegg. We were talking about his then latest movie called Lost Transmissions. What we're doing right now is we're getting the writer, the director, the creative force behind this movie. Her name is Catherine O'Brien. This is your first, well, first of all, we're in Whistler as we're doing this. You wouldn't know because it is raining right now. This is your directorial debut, is it not?
It is, yeah. I had written before, but this is first time as a director.
Well, first of all, congratulations on a fantastic film. I said to you earlier, this is, and I mean this is a real compliment, this is not a movie you enjoy, this is a movie you endure. Let's talk about Simon's character and why I say that and the journey that he goes on.
Sure. Yeah, I guess you say that because it's about a group of friends helping their friend who's gone off his medication for schizophrenia. And I wanted to be as, true to, the real situation as possible. And I think anybody who's gone through that, as I know so many people have, will attest that it is a test of endurance about how long you will stick with somebody when they're just pushing you away. And Simon was my choice as an actor because he's just so lovable, and he's somebody that you would really want to stick it out with to help, because you just know at his heart he's a good person.
I think that's an important point to make, because right off the bat at the beginning of this film, he's just literally the life of the party with his friends, but he has to be likable for these friends of his to stick around. Talk a bit about Juno Temple, who's a wonderful young actress. At the beginning of the movie, I'm thinking Simon's going to save her, but she becomes his blanket of protection. Talk about working with her.
Yeah, for Simon's her mentor as a producer. She's a songwriter in the movie, but then she ends up being the one that is chasing him all around Los Angeles, trying to get him committed to a mental health care facility. But yeah, Juno was fantastic for this role for many reasons. I mean, she does come from a rock and roll background, her father being Julian Temple, who did a lot of music videos for the Sex Pistols.
That's right.
And I think one of the members of the Clash was her godfather. So she hails from that world, but she's also just deeply empathetic and very caring and nurturing. And those are the heroic traits of Hannah, the character. And it's those traits that give her the strength to be the one to actually save him and come through at the end. And there is, she's able to empathize with him to the point of being able to kind of project herself a bit into his delusions and fantasies and play along with him. And that's the thing that's able to get him into safety at the end.
My last question for you is watching this film, you really touched on so many real moments, and there are so many moments that really hit me. This is really personal to you. Can you talk briefly about that?
Yeah, it is. It is inspired by a situation that I went through with a group of friends in Los Angeles. We've definitely taken creative liberties to make a film that would fit in an hour and a half, but it's things that I've been through. All those scenarios are sort of generally represented in the movie.
I tell you what, I lied. I'm going to ask you one more question, because you mentioned to me the other day about your next movie possibly, which could not get any further away. Can you talk to us and give us a little just teaser of what you're thinking to work on next?
It's an action movie. It's an action thriller. It's set in the 1500s in Scotland, which are actually considering shooting here in Canada. And that made me very excited to come to Whistler. And start getting putting my toe into the Canadian film industry. But yeah, it is set during the witch persecutions, and it is a different genre for sure, but it's something that I'm hoping to apply a similar level of realism to.
That's great news. Listen, I hope you do come back. Lita and I will love to have you on the show again. A dog is barking right now, but we'll let him do his thing, and we'll let you continue to do your thing. It's Catherine O'Brien. Thank you. You're quite welcome. The movie is Lost Transmissions. Look for it now.
This health and wellness segment is sponsored by Enerex Painex, a trusted brand scientifically evidence-based for natural pain management. Ingredients include serapeptase, hops, turmeric, devil's claw, and bromelain. We are here in the Oak Ridge area of Vancouver. We're at the clinic Change Pain with Dr. Brenda Lau. She is a pain specialist, anesthesiologist, and the co-founder and medical director of Change Pain. You have a very unique clinic.
Thank you, Lita.
Yeah, we've certainly heard a lot about it, Dr. Brenda. So let's start with, tell us all about your clinic, Change Pain.
Happy to, Jim.
Thank you.
7 years ago, we started a multidisciplinary pain clinic because not a lot of these resources existed. We really wanted to provide whole person pain care. So we've now got 12 medical doctors, physiotherapy, chiropractor, manual therapist, kinesiology, OT, psychology, yoga. So we've got a lot of people involved with our pain team.
That's fabulous.
Now, what is your team's approach? Well, it's called Change Pain. What is your team's approach that's unique to pain management?
Well, we do the standard medical approach, which is to take the assessment and history. But our unique approach is because we take the pain problem and dissect it layer by layer. Pain is complex, and it is only through that kind of lens can we actually find the cause of pain.
Next question I wanted to ask, because it's very particular to my ailments. Give me an example of someone coming in, say, with a knee injury. I've got a couple bolts in a knee. It aggravates me at various points in the day. What are you saying to someone like me or a viewer that suffers from the same kind of thing?
So common, Jim, knee and hip pain. And often we think of it as just as an acute symptom. But actually, for many of us, it's probably acute on chronic. It's been there for a few years maybe, then it rears its head again. So we can't just treat it like a symptom. We have to start thinking about what's causing it. Maybe it's the joint, maybe it's the muscle supporting it, maybe it's the ligament or a weak ligament, but maybe it's the alignment with the foot and the hip. There's a whole bunch of things that cause the pain. But then there's also a number of things that can aggravate the pain, make the intensity worse. So poor sleep, poor nutrition, poor movement, poor conditioning. So we have to look at it in those layers.
Interesting, okay.
Now, what would your team suggest, what methods to alleviate pain besides utilizing pharmaceutical drugs?
So typically, Leah, like you mentioned, really a lot of times it's really common to use, let's say, an anti-inflammatory, etc. But because I just mentioned to Jim, there are so many mechanisms and causes for pain. If we only use a drug, you actually are missing out. For example, if it was a weak thigh muscle, you can't use a drug to treat that. You need exercise, you need conditioning. But it's not just your average exercise. You gotta look at your posture, your alignment. And what if that inflammation isn't just in the knee? What if it's actually body inflammation? So someone comes to me with knee pain, but it's actually more other joint pain. And now you have to look at maybe gut health or reducing what the food impact is on your inflammation. So that's why we look at it in these layers. So it's not just reaching for a single drug.
And talk a little bit more, if you could, for our viewers who may not be educated on this, but want to know more. We're talking about natural remedies. A lot of people say today compared to 40 years ago are saying, is there something else I could take other than here's your drugs, please go. Talk a little bit more about the alternatives that are available.
You're so right, Jim. The pain science, honestly, has advanced so much in the last 35 years. And the pain science really helps us support, again, a multi-layered approach, meaning that the actual chemicals we take in, whether through food, through herbal medications, through medications like what we prescribe, they all change the way our body responds. So what we do in our team, we use a lot of evidence-based herbal medications or therapies, including ingredients with turmeric, black pepper, devil's claw. These are some common ones that we find that people will respond to, especially in the early phases of pain.
One of the things I'm sure a lot of people don't know is when they come to see you is also about listening to your gut. If you've got to say a knee injury, you've got, as you've said a few moments ago, about examining everything and taking it everything, going over the data. Talk a little bit about that before we wrap up.
It's funny you say that, actually, because people look at me and they say, why are you even asking that? But they're thankful. Because in fact there's some alterations there, but no one's ever asked that.
Right.
And we realize, or that we should be realizing, that we are our bacteria. You have good and you have bad. And if we don't take care of the good bacteria, the chemicals that are produced through them can in fact contribute to pain, sleep problems, deconditioning, energy problems, feeling tired. So yes, we have to address a lot of different layers, even if it's just knee pain.
Interesting.
What a wonderful approach, and it's nice to be able to come in here and see a multitude of people and doctors coming on board to actually say, we're not crazy.
Yes, yes.
Very nice. Listen, we appreciate you taking the time to see us on a very busy day for you, and looking forward to seeing more of the clinic and talking to you more on future episodes of Our City Tonight. Thank you, Dr. Brenda Lau, our latest expert on our health and wellness segment here on Our City Tonight.
This health and wellness segment was sponsored by NRX Painex, a trusted brand scientifically evidence-based for natural pain management. Ingredients include serapeptase, hops, turmeric, devil's claw, and bromelain.
Well, it's time for another Our City Tonight viewer giveaway, and I think, Lita, this is going to be a very popular one because it involves the most popular motorsport action-packed family viewing on the planet. I think I got all that in.
Yeah, you did. It is actually Monster Jam, and it involves real, truly trained athletes, male and female, Great sport to watch, and we have a great giveaway, Jim.
That's right, Lita. We have a family 4-pack, which includes pre-show pit passes and event tickets. The pit party is a pre-show event taking place from 10:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. Show is at 1 p.m. and it takes place Saturday, March 14th and Sunday, March 15th at the Pacific Coliseum at the PNE. Lots of great stuff. Lita, how can they, well, before we get to that, Lita, exactly what are you wearing?
It's my Monster Jam hat.
You know, it's funny, actually. I know for a fact that from the Hotel W in Mexico, where you were last year, you dork.
Anyways, in order to win this great family pack, you can go to any of our social media. That includes Instagram, Twitter, or our Facebook page, and just DM us, direct message us that you want to win the Monster Jam pack.
Yeah, it comes your way the 14th to 15th of March. Good luck.
Well, we're here at the new Brown Social House that is located in the Queen Elizabeth Theatre Plaza. And I'm here today with Dina. Dina, you are a visual artist, known mostly for your photography, which is fantastic and really causing some waves right now, which was your intention, I believe. Provocative photography. Tell us a little bit about your collections.
Okay, so about 10 years ago, I gave up my career as a photojournalist to explore themes that are relevant to me. And I'm doing this by making stage photography with social commentary.
And that's a great way to describe it. It's not, you're not boxing yourself into any, I've heard your work described as pop realism. I guess you can go into that realm as well, but I guess together with your photojournalism background, real topics that are seriously, well, provocative too. So your very first collection, describe that as we move into your last collection, current collection.
My first series, Fallen Princesses, I took Disney and other fictional characters from fairy tales and placed them in modern settings to talk about the issues that real women go through today. And I'm happy to report that since then, Disney has actually changed their narratives and changed the happily ever after ending to better reflect what real women today have to endure.
So your collections moved into beauty ideals, which was your Barbie and Ken.
That's right, and the difficulty of marriage.
Yes, and the realities of marriage in this time. And then moving into the Gods of Suburbia, which I actually got to take part in.
Yes, you did, thank you.
It was amazing and a lot of fun, a lot of work.
So I took 11 gods from different traditions and placed them again, gave them a storyline, gave them a challenge. And I'm really asking people to look beyond the representation of their gods and talk about how religion works in our contemporary environment of science and technology.
And jumping right into your most current is what we want to cover is the 10 Commandments. Well, it just so happens to involve U.S. presidents. Tell us a little bit about that as we wrap up.
Okay. So the 10 Commandments was inspired by the election of Donald Trump in 2016 and all the events that have occurred since then. I was most disturbed by conservative views and how they would use religion in order to drive certain policy, which I felt was a danger to women and to women's rights, reproductive rights, and personal rights. So I used the 10 Commandments as a platform and placed, for the first time, not fictional characters, but real historical characters within the series, pairing up 10 presidents with the 10 Commandments.
Oh, it is brilliant. So if you've not seen Dina's work, you can find all of your work and collections at
DinaGoldstein.com.
That's great. So thanks, Dina, for spending some time with us today. We're here at Brown's Social House in Queen Elizabeth Plaza. Come on down here. It's awesome. The food's great. The drinks are great. Thanks again, Dina.
Thank you.
Well, we're back here where we began the show on the grounds of Science World on what I'm hoping is going to be a beginning of the journey towards spring.
Definitely. You can feel the warmth in the air, but it is time to say goodbye.
Before we leave, if you want to check us out online, check out past episodes and individual segments on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, and you can also make comments and suggestions. We'd love to hear from you on all of our social media that can be found at Our City Tonight, Facebook page, Instagram, and find us there.
Thanks. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapin.
We'll see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
Sponsorship for the Health and Wellness segment is provided by Enorex Botanicals Limited.
Inside Real Estate segments are brought to you by Team Kerr, real estate advice for life. Outdoor wear for Jim and Lita provided by Helly Hansen, alive since 1877.
Some of my clothing has been provided by Blushing Boutique, located in downtown Vancouver and online. Youngblood Mineral Cosmetics provided by Soluzione Spa Products.